land of freedom, toils of the brave, and the sweat of their labors, toils of the brave, which have brought results. Star of Ghana, Nkrumah, Star of Ghana, everybody toils of the brave, and the sweat of their labors, toils of the brave, which have brought results. Ghana, we now have freedom. Ghana, land of freedom, everybody toils of the brave, and the sweat of their labors, toils of the brave, which have brought results.
Hello, you're welcome to Diplomatic License right here on City TV. My name is Apioko Sarah Mashong Abe, and today we're going to have another exciting conversation. In fact, the part 2 of the conversation with His Excellency Charles Josop, High Commissioner of Namibia to Ghana. And we are at the amazing, the iconic, the historic W.E.B. Du Bois Center for Pan-African culture in Ghana. And there's a reason why we're here, and we'll find that out as the conversation unfolds with His Excellency Charles Josop. Welcome and enjoy the conversation. Welcome back. This is Diplomatic License on City TV. My name is Apioko Sarah Mashong Abe, and we're here at the W.E.B. Du Bois Memorial Center for Pan-African Culture, Ghana. And we're here because His Excellency Charles Josop, High Commissioner of Namibia to Ghana, has a very deep connection with this space, and we thought that it would be a great place to continue our conversation from last week. So hello, Your Excellency, once again.
Thank you, Api, for having me today.
Yes, and thank you. And you've been driving around Accra, experiencing everything. Thank you for spending time with me. I'm very, very grateful.
You're very welcome.
I mean, before we even get into the conversation about your experiences, I mean, last week we spoke a whole lot about your growing up and how you got into diplomacy, how your years as a young Pan-Africanist led you to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and subsequently into diplomacy. But before we talk about what Ghana means to you and how Ghana fits into all of that, what does Du Bois mean to you as a Pan-Africanist, as an African man?
Well, Du Bois is, and of course for this different pronunciations, depending, maybe the French would say Du Bois.
Du Bois.
Anyway, it is important to locate the dialogue about Pan-Africanism, and Webb Du Bois played a major role in it. He's our connection with the diaspora. Him together with Nkrumah, Marcus Garvey, and others that were able to crystallize the debate around Pan-Africanism as to what must it be, what can it be, how soon can it be, how not so soon can it be. All those things come together in the histories that Webb Du Bois, Kwame Nkrumah, and Marcus Garvey represent. So I think having him interned here is a major achievement for the Pan-Africanists and for the continent. I think we did not forget where the idea came from. We also did not forget what it meant for those that had been taken forcefully across the Atlantic. So it is within that context that I appreciate the work that they did. George Patmore is another name that comes to mind. So they are the forerunners for us as the young Pan-Africanists, and the ones that have even gone before us, who piggybacked on this ideal of an Africa coming together to deal with the challenges that confront the African people.
Be it on the continent or not.
Be on the continent or not. And to deal with the problem that confronts the African, the black African. Of course, we get bogged down to this debate as to who is an African, who's an African or not. But that as it may, but it's the black African. Of course, the reality is that the African blood has been infiltrated, if I can call it that, or has been diluted over time. But people have still remain, particularly in the diaspora or even on the continent, as Africans, despite whatever may have happened. It's what ultimately they identify themselves with. And if that's the continent, I think that's the role that Du Bois and Nkrumah has played. And this particular edifice is a reminder of that history, of that contribution, and of that intellectual contribution that was made by Webb Du Bois. And we've got a home to come back and to see that, and in fact a facility where we can sit down and talk about that contribution.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So for our viewers who don't know who W.E.B. Du Bois was, well, of course, Google is your friend, but beyond that, he was an African-American Pan-Africanist, very important to mention. He was a socialist, he was an economist, and he was born in Barrington, Boston, USA. He fought so many battles, like His Excellency is saying, for black people. And I mean, yes, we can talk about black Africa and what it means to be an African and all that, but the truth of the matter is that when Du Bois lived, it was the skin of the color of your skin that was the issue.
Yes.
I mean, if you read the history, once again, he fought for, in particular, Southern blacks, because there was all this, North and South thing going on in the U.S. He fought so many policies that were preventing them from progressing. Yes. And he himself, in case you didn't know, was the first African-American man, black man, to become a PhD holder in the United States. And he did this at the University of Berlin, Harvard. He was very well educated. And he died in Ghana in 1963. So to have somebody of this caliber, like His Excellency is saying, being memorialized in Ghana, in Accra, it's a huge deal. Yeah. It's a huge deal. Yeah. But let's pick up the conversation from there. I mean, obviously, in your journey through diplomacy, people like W.E.B. Du Bois, people like Nkrumah, and of course your own founding fathers have been a huge influence on what you do and why you do it. What was your very first diplomatic appointment?
Well, as a junior officer, I first went to London as a first secretary, political. Wow.
And that's a very high place to begin, from first secretary.
Yes.
Yes.
I stayed there for 4 years.
How old were you then, if you don't mind my asking?
Well, that was 2000.
Okay.
And one. I think I was about 30 years old.
So you were fairly young.
Yeah.
Fairly young. And what was the experience like?
Well, it's you go to London. London is a metropolis. It's a huge metropolis.
Yeah.
Everybody from anywhere is probably to be found there. And it's also the home of the Commonwealth.
Of course.
So as much as it has got the bilateral spin to it, it has got the multilateral spin in it. Right. That it's Commonwealth headquarters, and it was great. I think a lot of opportunity in terms of networking, in terms of learning things, but in terms of understanding also the Commonwealth that we talk about, and understanding and appreciating the good part and the bad part of colonialism also.
Yeah.
The bilateral relations, excellent. I think a lot of Ghanaians are also there.
Oh,
and a lot of Nigerians are also
yes,
there. A lot of Caribbeans are also
definitely.
there. So you have this coming together of ideas also. Similarly with the experiences that Nkrumah had, perhaps with the people from the Caribbean and those that had gone from here to England and to the US. That kind of a camaraderie but exchange of ideas were there. We've had the Africa Sender. At that time it was headed by a Ghanaian, Dr. Adude Bing. And it was a great experience really to be able to exchange ideas, to talk about Africa, to talk about the image that Africa had at that time also. Because, you know, the 80s, 90s, late 90s, you saw an image of hungry people. If you open CNN or BBC, hungry people, famine, that was the image.
Yeah.
Now, we had to deal with that image, and continuously we talked about why is Africa not portrayed in a very positive image, or in a positive way of looking at development success stories, looking at success stories in terms of the changes of government, looking at countries that are newly independent, that are making headway. You know, tell the success stories also. But it was all about famine. It was also all about people that are standing bucket in hand, and people that. I remember a young lady, she's now not so young anymore, on the BBC. And she was probably the only African at that time. And we were trying to see how we could get to her to tell a positive story. And ultimately, I think the narrative has changed over
yes,
time.
Absolutely.
Eventually you saw black anchormen coming onto CNN, onto BBC, and telling a positive story and being allowed, perhaps being allowed under pressure to tell that positive story. Yeah. So that was my main experience in London. That positive about Africa, but also the narrative also in the Commonwealth about what Africa wants, what the African and Caribbean and Pacific countries that are former British colonies want. I think that narrative has changed during that time.
How significant was it for you to be having this conversation literally in the heart of the Commonwealth?
Well, sometimes it was not so good, because if you know, the Commonwealth is an institution for the Commonwealth countries. So sometimes, you know, and it has happened that you have someone from the colonizer supposedly appointed to assist a country, and then you have this officer now, instead of assisting, almost taking
control of the whole thing.
Not so much the control, but she was adopting her home character instead of being a neutral person within the Secretariat. So that kind of thing is happening. And it happened when I was there. It was nipped in the bud for that particular experience. I don't know after we left whether it happened again or no, but when you see things happening about the negotiations on the EPAs, for instance, and you see a British commissioner trying to force an EPA on African countries and on Commonwealth countries, you just wonder whether this colonial relationship was still not there, or whether it was something of the past. And then the reality was that in some instances it is still there.
Yes.
People still think of African countries as their backyard. So that is the kind of experience that I had. But other than that, I also have had positive experiences.
What were some of the positive
experiences about this networking that I talked to you about? Being able to come together as Africans, being able to experience what it means to be African in a white country. but also the cosmopolitan nature of London allowed us to move around, experience certain, your Jamaican, your Ghanaian, your Nigerian, your, all kinds of neighborhoods, and mingle of people to hear why are they there.
Yeah.
And you get to be told the stories that have gone long about how they built this country, and therefore they may be the second generation or third generation of people that are staying there. Some have gone because their countries were not so good to them at a particular time.
Sure.
To get education. Some said, well, we get education, we'll go back. So it's those positive stories that were shared.
Apart from work, what else did you do in London? I mean, the food, and we talk about a huge Caribbean influence, for
Yes.
example. Were you eating cocoa bread and patties? Were you?
Well, I didn't venture too much into the food. But we were able to join the parties and enjoy the conversation.
There you go.
But as London is a metropolitan area. Now, you can go to northern London, East London, and get different vibes
Sure.
of what people are going through. And sometimes you get to appreciate your own countries when you are in these situations. Sometimes when you are out there, the hype about going to London is so much until you get there. But when I was there, I was a diplomat, and as a diplomat, you get to enjoy the better side of life.
Definitely.
So there were a lot of positives that I can. Particularly, I was newly married. I had children that joined me. Schools were good. The transport networks are good. Nightlife is good. It's those kinds of things that were positive for us and that we enjoyed.
Yeah. What was it like being on your first diplomatic mission and having to work while you had your family with you? And like you said, newly married. I mean, this is a time to grow the relationship. What was it like?
No, it was good. My wife is a nurse by training, so she managed also to work there, extra income, of course. But it's the support systems that are there are actually good. The schools are good. The health system is good, and the access that we had also as diplomats. We did not need to go to a private place. The public institutions that were equally great. So, because of all this, it was a good experience.
Yeah.
I cannot complain about the UK as a posting then.
Yeah.
As a newly posted diplomat, it's sometimes overwhelming, the many things that you have to do, particularly if the mission is not so big.
Yeah.
Then you get to do all kinds of things. We think of ourselves as masters of or jack of all trades and masters of a few things, if any, because we have to be. Today you are talking trade, tomorrow you are talking environment, the day after you're talking culture. And you have to know something about all of, and you get to experience all these things.
They're also learning on the job.
Yes, there's a lot of things.
Becoming historians, becoming economists, becoming financiers.
Indeed. In our case, you are not trained to just go and do the economics.
Yeah.
No, you go there, you're politics, you cover economics, you cover politics, you cover environment, you cover culture.
And of course, all those things represent Namibia.
Yes.
So you can't focus on one and leave the others. Otherwise,
Certainly.
it's not Namibia as a whole.
Certainly
right?
not. Certainly not.
Then from London, where did you go next?
Now, from London, I went home, spent a few months in the ministry, and then I was seconded to the office of the president, and I was elevated to do speechwriting for the president.
Oh, wow.
As deputy director for speechwriting. I spent there about 3 years, and then I came back to the ministry.
Amazing.
And after that, I went to Botswana as a deputy high commissioner there.
Amazing. Okay, so we'll come back to this conversation. Let's take a quick break. Please, Your Excellency, you're watching Diplomatic License on City TV. I've been speaking to His Excellency Charles Jessup. He's the High Commissioner of Namibia to Ghana. We'll be right back.
Tune in to The Point of View this and every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. as I, Bernard Avile, get the right guests, ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you.
What is the funding that we need? Do we actually sit down and leave things as they are? Or should we get more funding so that we can change how we do business as usual?
Even if you think of geopolitics and geoeconomics, we are entering an age where China wants to build its own internet, and we are seeing a new arms race, a technological arms race.
To be honest with you, it's politics. There are different dynamics in politics. I'm sure some people didn't give anything, some people gave some. It depends on the people you're working with.
Remember, The Point of View is live every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. only on City TV.
Point of View is powered by Airtel Tigo Extra. Even our bonus data doesn't expire. You the film? Dial *111# to activate now. Airtel Tigo. Life is simple.
Welcome back to Diplomatic License on City TV. My name is Apioko Seramashong Abe. I am your host, and I've been speaking today to His Excellency Charles Jessup, High Commissioner of Namibia to Ghana. Well, so let's continue this conversation. We've spoken about how you began your diplomatic career all the way in London as the first secretary, right? Then you were back in Namibia for 3 years. Why such a long break?
Well, usually the rotation is for that level is 4 years. 4 years out, 4 years home, and then renew your charge, and then you can go out.
Learn about Namibia all over again.
Yes. Okay. Now you are updated on policy developments.
And you were lucky to be working with the president's office.
Yes.
You're writing speeches. What was that experience like?
Well, it was a great experience.
Literally putting words into the mouth of the first gentleman of the land.
Well, one can look at it that way, but it's the important part is that you can add a bit of your thinking in terms of what the president is saying and will be saying. Ultimately, the speech is not yours; it is the president's speech, and the president can only say that, or exercise, or make the statement after agreeing to what is on the paper.
Definitely.
If he doesn't agree, of course, you find your statement back with a red or blue line through it.
Did you ever have those situations?
Well, the statements are always built from the bottom up. So by the time that it comes back, it's not as harsh, but you'll be told, well, you need to take this out, you need to take that out, maybe, or this is not proper. This is the youthful thinking.
Yeah, youthful thinking.
And so those things they were happening.
Okay.
But ultimately, you get to the thinking of the principle and get in tune with the policy positions that are existing, and then you are able to write statements that don't come back with too many corrections.
So after that, you went back to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yes, in the meantime, I applied for a position in the ministry.
Okay.
Of course, when I was at State House, I was at the behest of the president. So I went back to the ministry as a deputy director, special programs, which again put me back working with the president.
The president must have enjoyed working with you.
Well, I guess so.
Because if he didn't, I mean.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So I was appointed at Deputy Director Special Programs.
And which president was this, just for clarification?
This was President Wamba.
Okay, President Wamba.
So I was appointed.
So he's the one who planted the second tree that we saw.
Yes. Yes, indeed. In fact, that year, I think we were here for the just to go on a different tangent a little bit, when the debate on whether African Union
unity now yes.
or later.
Yes.
I think that debate took place in that year. But all the same, I went back to the ministry as the Deputy Director of Special Programs.
Okay.
And after 2 years being in that position, I was now posted to Botswana
Okay.
as the Deputy High Commissioner.
And I mean now, of course, two different continents, two different countries, England and Botswana. But what was it like now being the Deputy High Commissioner versus being a First Secretary when you first started the diplomatic journey?
Yeah, of course, the responsibilities increase. But equally in Botswana, in London, I was deputizing the High Commissioner by virtue of the size
so
of
you're
the mission.
multitasking.
So now that I was in Botswana, I had the title and I had the responsibility. But there was another First Secretary. So at least now I was the immediate Deputy of the High Commissioner by rank and by
portfolio.
By portfolio. So, of course, two different settings. A big metropolis, a small-sized city. Not so metropolitan in composition, but it was also the seat of the SADC Secretariat. So you have again a multilateral and a bilateral component to it. So we were able to deal with both of them. Not as much hype as in London, but it was equally a busy post. It's also at a time when we were doing expansion at the High Commission, enlarging the High Commission, and it was quite a busy time. I was given the responsibility of supervising that project. So it was not just the political part, but your administrative part was there. Then the office work was there. Understanding the Botswana society was also there.
Was your family with you?
Again, yes.
And I mean, how did they settle in?
But they settled in well. There the schools we took the kids to private schools. The public school system is not as good as in the US, in the UK, sorry. So we took them to these private schools, but they enjoyed being there. Of course, my wife couldn't work, but they enjoyed being there. We stayed there for 2 years.
Okay. So then, I mean, you came back to the continent, the motherland, and then from Botswana, where did you go?
From Botswana, I came here.
Aha! And what has the Ghanaian experience been like? So you came to Ghana in what year?
You know, the minister called me one day and said, President wants to send you to Ghana. You know, just unexpectedly. And she said, what do you think? So I said, no, that will be an honor. She said, no, go back and talk to your family and then come back to me. So I went back and we had a conversation and we said, we came. And I was commissioned 14th of December 2014. And I came to Ghana in January 2015.
So you celebrated your 5th anniversary very recently.
First anniversary of being in Ghana.
5th anniversary of being in Ghana.
I did.
Yes,
6th of January I celebrated it.
Yes, and what has the experience been like? I know you've traveled around the country a lot. I know Ghana means a lot to you for many reasons. We've spoken about that. And what has the experience been like?
Ghana, great experience. I must say, I haven't lived in Ghana or in West Africa even as a young person. I came to Ghana for that conference that I told you about. I was in West Africa, Cameroon, Nigeria, just for meetings. So the West African experience is completely different. I had to really learn the culture, people, the place, the history I knew. I had to find the history. I had to find the venues that depict the history. So it was great, or it is still great. I was able to visit the castles, Elmina foremost, to really get into that kind of thinking and history. As I
What
said.
was it like being at Elmina for the first time?
Surreal. Perhaps surreal is one way of describing it. It was,
Of course, you had heard about it before.
yes, I have heard about it, but to go in there and to experience and to be in the actual setting of what was happening. Maybe it was not so harsh for me, because I came from a background of a country under siege, and I knew what
You lived through it.
I
really.
lived through it, and I could, and I experienced oppression, brutality, and incarceration of people in very tiny places. Political prisoners being put in solitary confinement for days on end, and when I went in there and I was told 100 people, 200 people were in this small place, and they were all standing, and there's just this small place where they were supposed to relieve themselves. I could identify with what was happening, but still, the scale was just enormous. And the fact that there's only one window, no sunlight, and you go out and you see how the officers are living almost in opulence just above them, and you say, well, human beings can be cruel.
And the fact that they did nothing wrong.
Yes.
They were just black Africans.
Black Africans,
who were
people in
victims of
transit,
circumstance.
people in transit who should not be treated so badly. In fact, people that are going to be sold, and they were treated as prisoners. I said, no. That was an experience that I would never, not even for my enemy, that I would want that kind of experience. To go through the treatment that those people went through before being sold as slaves. I think it was quite horrendous.
What did that experience at Elmina do to your resolve to do what you do as a diplomat?
Well, I've always said that this world is for us all, and if you can make it a better place, then we'll not have the Elminas. And that resolve has always been with me to do whatever I can to make this world a better place. Trade, human trafficking is still happening today. If I'm in a position to make sure that is not happening, how by all means do that. If my intervention can stop that, all the things that happen to people that become victims of the one or the other smuggling, I think that is one thing that I'll always work against. Oppression. People being oppressed because of what they believe in, people being oppressed because of the skin color, people being mistreated just because of who they are, what they are, whether they are women or they are men or whether they are children, whether they are poor or whether they are handicapped or what, Once I was there, or even before, as I said, that just strengthened my resolve to do whatever I can in my own way. The politics of persecution, if I can help it, to avoid it or to stop it from wherever it's happening, that's another thing that I would want to do in my life and in my contribution, and perhaps to serve my reason for existence. Elmina and of course Cape Coast has really brought to the fore the cruelty of mankind. I've equally gone to the castle in Senegal. A similar kind of conditions, similar point of no return.
I mean, it was a deliberate plan.
Yes.
That our people should be treated that way.
Yeah.
You know?
So no, it's so as coming to Ghana has really given me the opportunity to complete a journey. Perhaps just to see the cruelty of human beings, how far human beings can go, how far human beings can ill-treat their own fellow human beings. Yeah.
Thank you for the work that you do and the resolve that you so strongly hold to do what you can to make the world a better place for all of us. Some people just care about themselves, even if they hold positions as you do. So thank you for being selfless. But let's talk more about your journey around Ghana. So you've done Elmina Castle, Cape Coast Castle. Obviously, those are very emotional for you.
Yes.
They hit very deep. What else has Ghana brought to you or given to you?
I'm a family man. So as much as I go on this journey of self-discovery, of finding out the things about life, I also want to take my family along, both my immediate family but also extended family. So every time that I've had visitors, I've taken the family to Elmina to have this experience, but also to Kakum National Park to ride the canopy. I've taken them to the Volta Lake and taken them to go and see the hydroelectric scheme on Agazombo. Being on the lake itself and experience nature. I want to travel more, but the immediate attractions around Accra and in the greater Accra region as well as the central region and perhaps a part of the western region that I have seen. A part of the northern region and Tamale, I've seen a part of that. There's still a lot of areas that I would love to see, regions that I would love to visit.
Like where would you like to go?
Well, the new regions, Bono. When the Bronga region was one, I wanted to go there, and then now it is split into two. So I will have to go to the capitals. But I want to see the where the Voltas are coming, see the rivers as they're coming together. Maybe take
the
a
Black
drive.
Volta, the White Volta.
Yes, but also just see that northern part. Ghana is interesting. Ghana is thick vegetation, and as you go north, it thins until you can get to the border where you now start to see houses from a distance.
Yes.
Tamale, for instance, has got similar vegetation as one of our northern towns. So those are the kinds of things that are interesting for me. And you get to I always try to educate my children on these things so that they have got an appreciation for what people have gone through, for the history of the country, for the culture of the country, and just understand, have a greater understanding of life, the world, of the continent, so that when they are grown, they're able to make decisions that are not just this superficial, but based on experience, based on what they could identify as part of their being. I would like to go to the eastern region, see the the rivers, the mountains, that side, and perhaps go towards Benin also and just see that part of it, you know. But Ghana has got a lot to offer. Ghana is 1/3 of the size of Namibia.
Wow.
But it has the population
I know. 30 million.
10 times Namibia.
Very huge population.
Yes. So it's a country small in size, but it's a lot of traveling that needs to be done. Thick vegetation that needs to be gone through, and all those things are taking time. I've been able to be part of this political space when there were two different governments, and it's quite interesting, and it's quite humbling to know that you can be representing across political divides. As much as we were doing well with the NDC government, we are doing with NPP government, and that is primarily because of the people-to-people connections that we're able to make, and that's ultimately what we do. But it's ultimately what I want to see as a person also, that our people move freely, that our people are able to go to Namibia, go to wherever on the continent, and share the good things with each other and develop each other as countries, as nations, and we live in happiness. And when the project of Pan-Africanism and United Africa comes about, that we are able to move as if we are part of the same family. Ultimately, of course, we are part of the same family, but that we move without any artificial boundaries, without any artificial obstacles of language, you know, but that primarily we can be able to help each other, coexist with each other, and do the things that are productive.
So let's take a break. This is Diplomatic License on City TV. My name is Apioko. We've been speaking to His Excellency Charles Jessup, High Commissioner of Namibia to Ghana. And when we come back, we'll have precious few minutes with him. And we'll make sure that we make the most of that time. We'll be right back.
We're about to change your Sunday night for the better.
Prophecy is not for useless things and loose, frivolous things. Prophecy is for weightier matters.
We will bring you the most captivating guests and explore the most amazing stories. Your way to stardom was really planned.
Calculated. It was falling in place.
I wanted like a specific future for myself. First, I'm gonna gain my popularity. Second, help must come from it. Like upside down like this.
You know it. We will dazzle you with real life situations and examine mind-blowing topics.
Bobby says he can pay me. I want to show him cash. Good one.
So is that what it's about?
Oh yes, I'll prove to this guy. Cash. Draw your swords. Deuteronomy 8:3. Charge.
Join me, Frema Dunyame,
And me, Ato Kwamna, every Sunday at 7 p.m. on City TV. Are you ready?
Upside Down, every Sunday, 7 p.m. only on City TV.
Welcome back. This is still Diplomatic License on City TV. My name is Apioko Abe, and I'm here at the W.E.B. Bois Memorial Center for Pan-African Culture in Ghana. And of course, I've been speaking all this while to His Excellency Charles Jessup, who happens to be the High Commissioner of Namibia to Ghana. Now, currently, we're going into the museum at the Du Bois Center. Very important space to be in, so come join us. So we're literally, Your Excellency, in the home of W.E.B. Du Bois. But you have a family of your own. Are they here in Ghana?
They have joined me since day one.
Okay, so you have children, or they're not children anymore, they're young adults, teenagers, little people.
I've got a granddaughter. From my firstborn, who is now 30, and I've got a secondborn and lastborn, who is 14 now.
Okay.
So the grandchild is 10. Of course, as I said, they like to tell me that they are young adults.
Yes. They're not children.
Not children. And so this, the rights will tell you, everyone has got a right and has got an opinion.
So your granddaughter is in Ghana too?
She's in.
And your wife is here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Your daughters are both here too?
My firstborn is in Bandung. She works for herself.
Okay, what does she do?
She's a banker.
So she owns a bank?
I guess so.
Oh, well, you've done well.
Thank you.
You and your wife. Congratulations. And but how has the family found Ghana? Are they happy to be here?
Well, they are. Initial, when change of environment takes place, you think, why are we going to Ghana? And then they get here, and then they get to know people, get to appreciate the country, and then all of a sudden it's, I don't want to go back. I want to stay here.
So what was the initial fight?
The initial fight is temperature. Of course, but coming from Botswana, a very dry place, not so humid, not so densely populated, not so densely vegetated, if I can say. And that has been the real adjustment that they needed to do. Once that has happened and they got used to it, they moved on.
And what about your wife? How has she?
She enjoys.
What's it like for her?
She enjoys being a housewife.
She gets to relax. She's earned it.
There's executive, domestic executive, or whatever they call it. Good names also for housewives. Yeah, but she enjoys being here. She's part of the association of spouses of the mission.
Okay.
So that keeps her busy in doing things, and she enjoys the time.
Okay. And what's next? I mean, you've experienced Ghana. You've enjoyed it. 5 years, no mean feat.
Yes.
Will you be leaving soon, or you can't tell yet?
Well, the prerogative is that of the president, but I've been here for 5 years. I jokingly say that at the New Year greetings I've reached the front line, so I must be standing next to the door to be out of here in some time. We've had the elections last year, November. President is now busy working on his cabinet. Maybe after that we'll be told what to do and where to go.
Of course.
So certainly 5 years is a long time in Ghana. I think it's my time to make an exit.
Definitely.
Allow somebody else to come and continue from where I left.
And I mean, have you enjoyed the Ghana food?
Yes, I can eat okra stew and I tried to do the fande kinge and so there are a lot of things that I can do. The goat light soup has been too strong for me.
Oh, the pepper.
The pepper is too much.
Well, they should make it with less pepper for you. I'll make some for you, because I don't like much pepper myself.
Oh.
See, but goat light soup is nice when you put the pepper aside.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, we'll see when there's not much pepper.
And what else do you like?
Well, I like the yam. I like the stew, the contemporary. What is it?
Contemporary.
Contemporary, yes. And palava sauce. Yeah, and with the rice, of course. It's great food. Yam in all kinds of, whether it's mashed, whether it's
so you're a yam guy.
Well, there's a lot. I've been to yam festivals. So I enjoy this.
Okay. So what other Ghanaian food do you like here? Or I mean, we've done yam. You're a yam guy. We've established that. Is yam popular at home?
No, we don't have yam. Yam is an import for those that are from West Africa. We eat porridge, maize.
What kind of maize?
We eat what you call here, I think tips, or what is it? It's sorghum.
Yes. Millet, cocoa.
Millet, yeah. Then we eat meat, a lot of beef, a lot of mutton and goat meat.
You have all the meats.
And then, of course, we have got a lot of game, game meat as well.
Yes.
So your yam, your plantain, your cassava are West African.
No, you see that
in Southern Africa. The closest you can get to it is being in Angola or being in Mozambique. Then you can get those varieties.
That's interesting because a lot of the time we assume that when we talk about yam, cassava, at least yam and plantain, sweet potatoes, we are talking about Africa as a whole.
Sweet potatoes, but a different variety again.
Yes.
Yeah, well, the foodstuffs are not as homogeneous over the continent. Yeah, there's definitely a variety.
Okay. What about Ghanaian music?
I was introduced to High Life.
I know you like Plus 233.
Plus 233 is the place to be. High Life, I've gone there a few times and people have come to play High Life.
Can you sing any of the songs?
No.
Are you a singer
at all?
That
will get all order now.
Can you dance?
Yes, I can.
Can you do the High Life dance?
No. You have to play the music for me to dance. And then, of course, we've heard about young artists. Sadly, she has passed on.
Ebony.
Yeah, and then that's the kind of music. I like music from West Africa. Initially, and when I was growing up, it was Kizomba and Central Africa. And then now it's High Life and it's Nigeria and Ghana that is taking over the scene, and I'm enjoying music.
That's amazing. So now I owe you, before we play this game, I owe you goat light soup with less pepper, and then I owe you a yam dish. Have you had poto yet?
Not yet.
Okay, so the part of Volta that my mom comes from, I told you my mom is from the Volta region. We eat something called poto. So we use the light soup and then we mash the yam into it, so it becomes like a nice pottage, and it's amazing. You love it. Put a little bit of palm oil on it. I'll make some for you. I'll keep my promise.
I'll appreciate
and
that.
It's yam, so you like it. But now 10 words. So first thing that comes to mind: food.
Nutrition.
Interesting. The scientist. Vacation.
Places.
Clothes.
Being covered.
Fun.
Enjoy.
Love.
Family.
Color.
Rainbow.
Book.
Knowledge.
Sports.
Enjoyment.
And life.
Creation.
Wow. You are really deep.
Well,
Your Excellency, thank you so much. I'm very honored to have had this time with you. I do hope you get to stay in Ghana for a longer time so I can make more than just goat light soup and a yam dish for you. But I have a gift for you. It's not just for me, but from the whole team.
Oh.
Yes. Wow. Okay. So these are cufflinks. Now, before, so just before you came to Ghana, maybe the first time in 2007, right? These are the coins that we had. So the old cities, before the Ghana city came, 500 city coins, and they've been used to make cufflinks.
Okay.
And I hope that it means more than just Ghana to you. It means Africa. It means our relationship as Namibia and Ghana.
Okay.
So I don't know if you're a cufflink guy. Do you?
No, I am.
There you go.
No,
perfect.
Not on the shirt, but
Yes.
on other shirts,
So
yes.
I hope
thank you.
enjoy them. And in some years to come, you might have to hide these in the bank. Somebody might want to steal.
Certainly. I've got somehow in my luggage somewhere. I still have got the old Ghana notes, the 10,000, the 5,000, and those notes.
Yes.
Well.
So now
Thank
you
so
have
much.
them made into something you can wear. Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're
When you
very
come to
welcome.
Namibia again,
Yes.
we'll talk about it.
We will
About
be
some.
there. We will be there.
So, again,
So
thank you so much.
Thank
you
you.
for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Thank you for joining us. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Diplomatic License on City TV. We spent 2 beautiful weeks, more or less, with His Excellency Charles Joseph, the High Commissioner of Namibia to Ghana. And as you can see, he's a man of passion, he's a man of vision, he's a Pan-Africanist at heart. And really, I've learned so much from
Thinking they out of their minds. I bring the vibe, I'm a vibe. Let's summon down.